The title of the story is Am I the Asshole for Abandoning My Daughter on Vacation?
Yes.
Especially on vacation,
It sounds like yes,
But you know, something I do have to mention as a Latina who grew up in Switzerland, I often heard of children that would stay, at in school, while their parents did the most amazing vacations being abroad. And I would find that so heartbreaking, being like, oh my God, your parents went without you to Africa or Asia.
I mean, it depends. I think,
oh my God,
as soon to be parents,
yeah.
doing one vacation a year where you would go alone with your husband without the kids would be healthy.
Yeah.
But it does depend if this happens all the time. Like if you don't get any vacation and your only chance is like your parents are going without you, that would be absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But if it just is about like, oh, one time in, I don't know, spring, they're going without you for a week, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
You can also stay alone at home for once.
Yeah, but that's a very European kind of lifestyle, I think, because back in Latin America, if you go on holidays, you're going with all the pack, because as a parent, you want your child to experience everything that you also experience abroad.
Yeah, and it also is a question of financial status. It's a question of if you can even because I feel like in Switzerland here it's kind of normalized that you go on vacation every freaking school holiday. Like you don't understand, we have sports holiday, which you are expected to go skiing, or it's like you're expected to go with the family skiing, which is super expensive. Then you have spring break, which just 2 weeks holiday where you're kind of expected to go away too, or where your kid is expected to be at a camp. Then you have like summer holiday for 6 weeks where you're expected to go away for at least 2 or 3 weeks. Then you have in autumn again, and then Christmas.
Like I know children, Swiss children who have already been all around the world and aren't even 17 or 18 years old. They're like, me and my family, we went to Tanzania just for 2 weeks, and then we went all through Asia and also to the Mongolian mountains, and it's like, oh my God.
And then there's
Swiss
me
people,
in a way, and we kind of went every year to Spain. I loved it, and we always went with the car, but I was the middle child. And I mean it literally and figuratively. I mean it as I was the middle child. I have an older brother and a younger sister, and 2 siblings again, which came later. But I was the child that had to sit in the middle of the car.
No.
The freaking car for 12 hours. Okay, that was pain.
I can tell it traumatized you.
And my brother is,
it's a big brother in every sense. Yeah.
And my sister with her baby car obviously had her space, and I had no space.
With her baby seat,
So
in the car.
that's family vacation. But actually, I have fond memories of it still.
Okay, your memory, your subconscious and conscious mind only want to remember the good things.
Yeah,
and try to suppress.
I guess in some ways I like the fact that I could sit there, listen to music, and we had like this rooftop where I could look outside and things like that. And I always loved our holiday in Spain because we always rented a house with a pool.
Not bragging over here.
No, but no, it was. I think it was actually, because I looked at it, it was cheaper than when you would rent Airbnbs today. So like there were different deals and things like that, and it was cheaper than going to a hotel. And we always went for 3 weeks. We stayed there 3 weeks. We brought our sheets and everything, but it was so nice. I loved living for a while there, so I have fond memories of it. Even though it's always started painful and ended painful if you think about it. But I mean, I was anyway used to being the middle child.
But I mean, did it ever happen to you that you were 10 years old or 11 years old and your parents would just say to you, like, oh, guess what? Do you remember France? You've always wanted to go to France. Well, guess what? We both are going to France without you, and you are going to school. Like,
okay, I kind of get that right now because my parents are with my younger sister and my older brother in Egypt vacation for 2 weeks in a resort. And I'm like, what?
Oh, sorry. What?
Laughed at it. It was terrible.
I can't. We were talking about being overheated. I can't accept that. What?
We got overheated. But actually, that's just the disadvantage of being an adult and living on my own with my husband and being like, I also want to go to family vacation. Okay. And we went once to Egypt, but that was before my sister was born and we were 3 kids. There was when we were 2 kids still. Do you get that? Like the privileges you had as a kid when you were only 1 kid stripped away when there was a second one.
Definitely.
Because there were some privileges when we were only 2. Sorry, sis. Love you.
You just reminded me of a video of a family, you know, those influencer families, you know, where they apparently have like the perfect lives and show everything on Instagram.
Yeah.
And one of them went viral, like a video of a mom that had already like 7 children or anything.
Oh, wow,
and
okay.
she wanted to surprise her children by showing them the pregnancy test, that it was positive and that they were waiting for another brother or sister. And the reaction of the children was hilarious because all of them were like, no,
not again,
not another one. And they just wrote in the comments, someone wrote in the comments like, these guys knew that their food portions were getting smaller.
I do have to say that I cannot understand. I mean, I am happy for the family that have a lot of children. I cannot understand how they can afford that.
Yeah, in the modern world, in the 21st century.
Yeah, maybe it's because we live in a super expensive country, but I'm already stressing about 1 or 2 kids. It's like 7?
Yeah.
Heck.
Well, I mean, you can tell that the parents just are going to raise up the first ones for the first children to then raise the rest of the gang, but yeah.
Yeah. But
anyways,
still, I mean, think about cars. Think about needing, even if you
hobbies,
share
activities,
and, I mean, beds, just simple furniture, clothing,
food.
It's just,
it's crazy.
One of my reasons, because I wanted 5 children. Now I kind of cut down to maybe 3.
Maybe.
Because I thought about having to need a bigger car and realized, that would be a pain in the ass, actually. And realizing how much it would cost to go on holidays with all 5 and just being like, I don't know, maybe I need to realize that it's not as easy, you know. I mean, there's this version of having a lot of a big family versus but what can you afford with that? I mean, just the life you can give them.
I think I've already told you this joke, but there's a joke of one of my favorite stand-up comedians whose name is Jim Gaffigan, and he has 5 children in New York City, right? So he makes a lot of jokes about having so many children, and he was telling, like, when they got the first child, everyone was like, a miracle, we're so happy for you. For the second one was like, okay, awesome. And he said that after the third one, everyone went like, just stop, you know, like why do you do this? And then he tells a joke where he's like, well, you know, if you ever wonder how it feels like to have 5 children or to become, or be ready for the 5th one, it just feels as if you were drowning in a sea and then someone throws you a baby. That's how it feels to have so many children, you know, which I think is hilarious. But then let's go with this Reddit story.
Okay, yeah.
So, my wife and I have always dreamed of celebrating our 14th anniversary with a luxurious vacation. Just the 2 of us. Do you know the song? Just the 2 of us.
No, but it sounds perfect.
Just the 2 of us. Okay.
Oh no, I have another song that's in my head, but no.
I really recommend it. If you know which song I mean, you are part of my vibe. Okay, so reliving the romance of our early years. We had it all planned out for years now, and we're excited beyond words. Enter our adult daughter, Jane. Jane and her husband got wind of our plans and promptly invited themselves and their 2 children, 9 female, 5 male, along. I originally put my foot down and told them this trip was just for us, which upset her some. But my wife has a hard time saying no to Jane, as she is the youngest of our children and our only daughter.
See,
and
for a moment, I was like, oh, well, you're setting boundaries. Then the wife, never mind.
Really. And she didn't want to hurt her feelings, so she reluctantly agreed to let them join. I wasn't thrilled about it at the time, but I wanted to make my family happy, and I knew my wife was also okay with the idea of a family trip. Even if she was heartbroken, we wouldn't get our romantic trip. We went along with it. The place we were originally going was not child-friendly, as it should be if it's really romantic. So we changed course and decided on all-inclusive family-friendly resort. We paid for the resort and our grandchildren's plane tickets. Okay.
Seriously?
Jane and her husband only had to pay for their own airfare. Okay. So there are a few things I hate about people, but I absolutely hate when they invite themselves.
Rude. Plain rude.
And expect you to pay. You know, like one thing is wanting to tag along, but also paying for all your shit. Another thing is expecting them for you to pay for their expenses.
Making people to change their plans to fit your needs, which would not have been necessary because you're not invited in the first place. Like having to change hotel because it doesn't fit the needs of having your kids talk along without you being invited.
Yeah, and I mean, the daughter is already an adult that's married. She should understand how couples, as you mentioned before, need their own time for themselves.
Yes.
But I just think this is the case of the daughters who already have children that just expect their grandparents to take care of their own children. Like you are my kind of nanny that I can have, and if I want to go to a trip with you, I think the daughter really expects them as grandparents to take care of the young children of their.
You're a brat, if that's what you're thinking.
Oh
Seriously.
my god! But
ungrateful.
again, I mean, yeah, it would have been so easy just to tell them, you know what, this is our romantic trip, but we can gladly afterwards in the future do another family trip, and
so simple.
It's a win-win situation. Nobody gets offended.
If she doesn't like it, you can also be okay. We have planned this in this hotel. If you want to be there at the same time, search your own hotel, book your own flights. You can be there. We can meet up for one day. But this is a special occasion we planned. We are going and we booked already. Finished.
But this is such a typical case for the youngest child in the family, to happen, that they behave this way. And this is also true. Like, the thousands of videos they are about how parents are, with every child they have, less strict and more pampering and more, like giving them all these privileges that the older children never got.
I feel that so much in our Latina culture because our generation famously grew up with La Chancla.
Yeah,
that.
And
I don't know if healthy, but the fear of parents and the respect you have for them. And then I hear my sister telling her mother to straight shut the F up. And I'm like,
she's getting killed.
I saw her funeral already and nothing happened. And I'm like, who are you people?
And it's all because they're the youngest, which I think it's so incredibly unfair.
Especially because, my sister's 7 years younger and yours too. I feel like they're just done. They're all in their minds like, we're checked out.
Like they suddenly forgot, that
it's like,
they should
discipline things.
Yeah.
I don't say that it is healthy and good because for the love of God, a lot of trauma happened. But it's still in a way like this internal fear of like, what? How can you survive this? I cannot even talk to my boss like that or things like that. And I just thought, no.
It's so unfair.
I couldn't even do it right now. I could be so angry out of so many good reasons, and I could still my internal would still be like crawling together, even thinking about saying something like that.
So if you're the youngest in your family, just know that millions of elder children just fucking envy you, okay? Because you never got the same suffering we had to get through childhood.
But if their version of getting parent is really better, that is another discussion.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I wouldn't necessarily say that they have like the better parenting. They just have it chiller.
Exactly. It's not better. It's just more relaxed in a sense, but in a sense
they can just do whatever the hell they want.
Exactly.
They're running wild.
Like, Dios mío, that's so unfair. Okay, but then let's go on with the story. Here's where things get complicated. As the vacation got closer, I started having a change of heart. I realized that our 14th anniversary was a once-in-a-lifetime milestone, and I wanted to honor it in a way that was true to our original plans. My wife and I might not be able to afford a trip like this again for quite some time, and it's something we always wanted to do.
Even more, why is the daughter inviting herself?
Yeah. So, without consulting anyone, I switched our tickets last minute to go to the romantic destination that my wife and I had originally planned for. I did not tell Jane or her husband. I didn't even tell my wife until the day before our flight left, which was a day before Jane's flight left for their vacation. Okay, here again. If you already said yes to something, then I think it's pretty asshole of you to just change without telling anyone. Like,
I love it.
But, if you already fucked up, then, I do think that if it's about something as serious and as expensive as this, then you need to... you already agreed to change your plans. So to change back without telling anyone, that's also
It is an asshole move because in the end you failed to stick to your ground.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, the daughter invited herself, and it's like you wanted a vacation and you apparently wanted to go there.
Yeah, but
they still paid for the kids' vacation, so it's not like they're losing a ton of money.
That's true. But I mean, if you already agreed to change your plans, then I do think it's pretty asshole.
It's like the Latina in me is like, I love revenge. I love this, pettiness.
Like you can tell from where the daughter got from where she got the audacity to do such things.
Yeah. I mean, you did kind of in a way, not just you, but you and your wife in the end. You should have sticked with saying no, when if the daughter would have still ignored all of your no's, then I would have gone to the extreme of just booking it and not telling when you're flying and everything, because she clearly does not respect your boundaries, but you failed to keep up the boundaries. So
exactly. And you know what I do not like about this move is that they just will go with a bad feeling about it. I think the wife would feel bad afterwards. If they just would have said no from the beginning, then they just set their boundaries clear and there would have been no problem whatsoever. But if you tell your daughter that you, as it looks like, pretty much love for you to pay for the grandchildren's farewell and everything, to then, change her and be like, oh, okay, at the end, no, we actually don't want you to come with us, then I think she would actually hate them a little bit for, when you hate your parents for like 10 seconds, where it's like, oh, are you kidding me? And then this negative vibe would stick with the couple actually when going alone, so that's the thing. If I would do that kind of move, where I change plans without telling anyone, I would live with a negative feeling of, oh, I just did that.
But would this also kind of not be a good opportunity to teach a lesson of being like, we already told you that no, and no, it would have been
but
a good
they accepted
lesson
at the end, and even paid the tickets.
If they would have stick to their ground and then did that as being like kind of a lesson, and we told you no, and we even paid, and you still try to butcher this, then you're right. In the end, they should have just stayed with their no.
Yeah. So then he writes, It wasn't an easy decision and I feel guilty about it. But I wanted our 14th anniversary to be the special, intimate celebration we had always hoped for.
But you're right, it is tainted now.
Tainted, exactly. That's the word.
Yeah.
That's the word, yeah. We called Jane after we landed. Okay, that's hilarious. just you believing you're going to a family trip for your parents to be like, oh, so we're already here without you.
And we changed, they changed places, right?
Yeah, something like that. And to the original place.
But then again, I do have to say, I think if they're in the same place, but if they just changed the hotel, I wouldn't think that too bad. Or is it a completely different like a country? Did they go to a different place in complete?
So he said that decided on an all-inclusive, family-friendly resort.
Because as I understood,
they changed resorts.
So they only changed to they are still at the same place with the other with like a
He doesn't specify that.
But as I understand, they're in the same country. They just changed the hotel to the kids free hotel they actually wanted to go.
Well, he said just, romantic destination. So you can't be sure. Did they change country? Only the resorts or also like the
because
country?
Because if they only change the resort, it's not so bad. Because then it's like we just decided to stay somewhere else.
Yeah.
If they change the whole country and destination, then that is asshole.
He didn't specify. But then, so we called Jane after we landed to tell her, and she was extremely upset, to say the least. She seemed of the idea that we were going to look after our grandkids. What did I tell you? Grandpa nannies. So she and her husband could have alone time. And now that I abandoned her, they would have to do it all themselves.
Boo-hoo.
Yeah, I hung up on them when my son-in-law started shouting, and my wife and I enjoyed the rest of our trip. They came back the same day we did, but have not answered any of our texts, and Jane seems to be ignoring me. My wife told me she vastly preferred our trip to the family trip we would have taken, but she still doesn't like how Jane is mad at us and wants me to apologize. I'm not sure I want to, after learning Jane and her husband were using us for free babysitting and a free trip, but I feel like I should just to keep the peace.
No, you need to.
Am I the asshole for changing our trip destination last minute and leaving Jane and her family to fend for themselves?
Yes, you are the asshole that you did that. But now that you did it, stick to it in a way that makes you less the asshole in a way. I mean, I don't mean this in a toxic way of he should never apologize and everything like that. But it's like, okay, you took that decision now, realizing that you didn't want to you wanted to stay to the original plan, and you realize now that your daughter anyway only wanted to use you. So apologize for the fact that you changed plan and didn't tell them, but stay on the ground of, but it's not okay from her that she invited herself just to use them as a nanny. So don't just apologize and ignore that. That's what I'm trying to say here. Like use this as a moment of you wanted to use us. That is not okay, and our relationship is going to be tainted from now on if you cannot accept that we in the first place didn't want this trip. So you planned this whole trip on something that was never our desire just because you wanted something.
Exactly that. Just what you say, exactamente así. Okay, like you do have to apologize for the asshole move, but stay clear that, you're not the only one to blame for the situation to end the way it did.
That's a way clearer version
also
of it.
take accountability for what you did to us without thinking about our feelings or our needs, For
you
such
said it so much clearer
event.
than that's what I wanted to say. Yes, exactly.
Should I read the comments?
Yes.
Okay.
What do they say?
So the top comment just said, what part of the 14th anniversary trip did your daughter and son-in-law not understand? Oh, boo freaking who. They wanted to spend time alone and designated the grandparents to babysit on what should have been their special trip. If your daughter and son-in-law wanted alone time on a trip, they could have gone on a different trip. And politely, the way I just, went to tone higher, already imagining what the writer is saying. And politely asked you and your wife to watch the kids while they were away. Do not feel guilty, OP. Not even for a second. Okay, I do not agree with that. You and your wife have done the parenting of your kids, and now it's time to start enjoying life as a couple again. Sure, you are parents and grandparents, but you're still a couple and deserve to enjoy falling in love with each other all over again with romantic trips that do not include your offspring or grandkids. Your daughter needs a swift kick of reality right in the tukas. Okay, the tukas. Write in the comments if you've ever heard of this description for, She had the audacity to invite her family to your romantic weekend with the express purpose of securing babysitters so she could enjoy herself without any thought for her parents. The entitlement is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. But I do not agree on the fact that, you should apologize for the obvious thing that you changed the plans because you also did not stick on your ground with saying no, as we discussed. And it's also kind of reflecting on your parenting if you are, as parents, not able to say no to your child. And especially now that she has children, she should understand what a no means.
Exactly.
So. And the daughter is really self-absorbed. If this is their special anniversary trip, and she's like, but I want you to watch the kids because we need alone time. Jesus Christ.
Like from all the years you could have asked for that. You decided
take a different vacation.
Exactly.
I also think doing a family vacation would be nice. Like I would love to do, for example, like a family cruise with my husband, the baby, the grandparents, if they want to come too, because it's also a great way where you can have alone time, where you can have together time, where where you can enjoy with the family, but everyone can also be separate and everything. But that's only if everyone is willing and clear on, the fact that you also want some alone time.
Exactly. So I think we got overheated just by discussing about these two stories.